And I welcome you back to the Steve Malzberg Show, Thursday edition. By the way, I will be off tomorrow, returning on Monday as we enter Thanksgiving week. And by Monday, I'm sure we'll have a lot of, several. I'll take Roger Stone at his word and what they're predicting, that we'll have at least a couple or most of the cabinet picks by early next week. Looking forward to that. Now, Vicente Fox. You remember Vicente Fox. He's trying to stay relevant. The former president of Mexico. Yeah, he's trying to stay relevant. So what does he do? He disrespects our country. He disrespects our president-elect, and he's spewing. What am I talking about? Why don't you watch this?
Right now, I think he's an illegitimate president of the United States.
Why is he illegitimate? He just won an election.
He would have to legitimize. He didn't win the general election, so he's got too many people against him, and they have shown out on the streets. But anyway, in Mexico, we can be rude also. As I said, we're strong now. We're going to defend our people wherever they are, in Mexico or outside of Mexico in the United States.
All right. Okay, where do I start with this, ladies and gentlemen? He's an illegitimate president, Donald Trump. The former president of Mexico is telling us that our president-elect is an illegitimate president because he didn't win. He didn't say win. Because he didn't win the general election, meaning the popular vote. Hey, Vicente, message. We don't elect presidents by winning the popular vote. Brain surgeon. And who are you to tell us that we have an illegitimate president? Huh? Who are you to tell us? The nerve, the gall. You got to be kidding me. And then he says we can be rude also. Go ahead. I think sending millions of your criminals and people over the border illegally, thereby breaking our law immediately, not to mention the ones who murder and rape and do worse, I think that's pretty rude. I'd say that's very rude. So you're already being rude. And then he said, what else did he say? We're going to defend our people wherever they are, inside Mexico or in the United States. What does that mean? What does that mean? All right. Here's more from Vicente.
We are not going to let this guy to offend them anymore, to offend their dignity, and more so to deny the enormous contribution they make to U.S. economy.
You're not going to allow this guy, you mean the president-elect, to offend the people who are in this country illegally, thereby making them, by definition, criminals? Is that what you're saying? I'm trying to get this all in my head. Who do you think you are? What are you talking about? This guy. First of all, show respect. You don't show respect by keeping your people from breaking into our country. In fact, your government encourages it from reports I've seen, with CDs and brochures on how and where to beat the Border Patrol. That's some country. But this guy, and you're not going to let him? What are you going to do? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? There's more.
How can you be president of any country if you don't guarantee security, if you don't find criminality? Of course, he has to go after whites, minorities, Afro-Americans, Mexicans, Muslims that violate the law. That has to be done. We understand that. But to speak about 3 million, to speak about 11 million that he doesn't know, even United States security agencies don't know who they are, don't know where they are. So this might be very dangerous to just start kicking out the first one that crosses in front of security agents. So he better be careful. That cannot be done.
I'm going to try to translate for you. Not so much that you don't understand the language, but it's almost impossible to understand his thoughts and what he's thinking and what he's trying to express to us. I've never heard such convoluted baloney in my life. Okay, so first of all, again, he's dictating to us. And he says, of course, a president has to go after whites, minorities, African Americans, Muslims who violate the law. Then in the next breath, he says, but the Mexicans who are criminals and are hiding, you don't know where they are. Okay, then he says, but if you see any of them, it would be dangerous to punish those people once you find them. I need to translate it for myself, to be honest with you. It's all over the place and it makes no sense. Basically what he's saying is, hands off the Mexicans in your own country, hands off the people who have broken the law, leave them alone, or else you illegitimately elected person. That's a nice message to send, isn't it? Coming from a former president of Mexico. Hey, why don't we ask Vicente Fox what they do to the illegals who cross into Mexico from their southern border? Why doesn't he give us a documentation of how they're treated? If they're not shot, they're put in prison. Unbelievable. Here's more.
I think the American people, the ones who voted for him, he cheated them. He told them so many promises, like a real populist, that he will never be able to comply. I think we should register today the unemployment rate in the United States and compare it with next year's. I'm sure that the very good condition on employment that President Obama is leading, he will not sustain.
Hey, Vicente, I have a homework assignment for you. Why don't you start charting on a graph the unemployment rate, jobs gained, jobs lost, starting when Trump is sworn in, and you keep a chart. And then you get back to us, because we can't wait to hear what you have to say. One more.
Mexico has 43 trade agreements. We have become, through NAFTA, very competitive. Nobody can produce and manufacture right now better at a lower cost and higher quality than what we do in Mexico. I just came back from Dubai and from the Emirates visiting, and they are more than willing that we build a bridge, and we're going to do it here in Vicente Fox next March. How can we trade among ourselves without the United States? So many opportunities will rise. South America, Central America, Europe, we have a trade agreement with Europe. So yes, we've been accustomed to trading with the United States because it's been good for us. But if we don't have that, we will have where to trade.
Really? Is that a threat? Vicente, you know what I say? Bye-bye. Hey, Barbara Boxer wants to get rid of the Electoral College. Here's Bill Tucker.
If you don't live in a city, Barbara Boxer doesn't care much at all about your vote. The esteemed senator from California, who's retiring this year, has introduced a bill aimed at banning the Electoral College. Now, mind you, it's a symbolic gesture meant to placate the sore losers in the Democratic base. This map, tweeted by pollster Frank Luntz, shows half of our nation's population is found in cities, and cities typically vote Democrat. The blue here represents 50% of the population, in the gray, the other 50%. Without the Electoral College, a presidential candidate would only need to campaign in 5 of the biggest cities in the country, racking up votes from the same special interest blocks, ignoring vast swaths of the country. The Electoral College spreads voting power out across the whole country. Boxer's bill calls for an amendment to the Constitution that would need to be ratified by 3/4 of the states within 7 years of the bill's introduction and being passed. Calling this highly unlikely is an understatement. Meanwhile, liberals continue to march down the streets of big cities, shouting, "Not my president," while many of them didn't bother to vote anyway. What they really want is to take away your vote, while they throw theirs away. Bill Tucker, Newsmax, New York.